Where's Emily?
She went to Rome.
Emily's in Rome?
I knew it.
Pack your bags!
Buongiorno, Emily.
In the second part, we've got a new character with Genevie arriving. And I feel like what's great about this show is that, on another show, maybe if someone similar to the protagonist, like Genevieve to Emily, showed up, it would be kind of a frenemies situation from the off. But Emily's like a real girl's girl and tries to help her settle in.
Yeah.
I was wondering where you think that relationship goes wrong.
Ooh, I mean, we don't really know if Genevieve comes in with any malicious intent or not, and it's all kind of, I think we filmed it many different ways, and then it's all in the edit at the end to see kind of how menacing she appears, or how she, if she's out for blood. But it was really fun to, like you said, play against type a little bit and not have Emily feel so threatened right away, because she does speak English, but also French perfectly, and she has the bangs, and she's fashionable, and Sylvie likes her. So there's all these things that I think right away would allow Emily to dislike her, but I think she does genuinely see it as an opportunity to kind of pass along any knowledge and, give herself a little, stature, but I think the second she starts to understand that she can communicate with Gabrielle in a way that she can't, that Emily can't, it starts to feel a bit uncomfortable. Not that she thinks she's going to take Gabrielle at the beginning, but I think it's oh, now I understand that it's not that you speak French, it's that you can actually genuinely communicate with somebody that I've been trying to communicate with, and he's responding to you in a different way than me. And that kind of, I think that's where it starts to turn.
Emily still not having learned French is really important in this part with that Gabrielle argument, which is so well done, by the way. Yeah, I just feel like it really captures the issues that you don't even realize that they've had all along.
Yeah.
And beginning to understand why they haven't been able to work it out.
Yeah.
But do you kind of think that Emily will ever learn French in the show? Just because it feels like her not being able to speak it is pretty important to her. This is a fish out of water tale with her.
Well, I think we see it in the last episode with the voicemail, where she really, she does want it so badly. She wants to be able to communicate. And it's hard in a show with 10 episodes to do it all, right? It's and I'm learning this more and more. It's I would have loved to have done more of that. Oh, and then there's this. Oh, and she's got to learn French. But then we're going to Rome. And there's you want to honor where we're shooting, which obviously includes learning French. But then also there's all this other stuff that Emily's doing that takes up mental capacity to and I understand this too, when your brain is working so quickly and you're memorizing or you're doing something, learning another language seems almost impossible. And so I think now if she's fueled more by this wanting of communication and understanding that it's a language barrier, that I think it will fuel her in a new way. And I think we see that a little bit with the voicemail at the end. But of course, in true fashion, now we're going to Rome, and if we get to go to another season, I'm is she going to learn Italian now? I'm girl is going to have so many languages.
I was wondering was that kind of cathartic, getting to play that scene?
It was nice, because there's a moment in season at the end of season 3, I think, when Gigi, Gabrielle's grandmother, is here, and Emily gets to meet her, and she's not really kind to Emily, and so Emily says a few things in French to be accepted, and at the end of the take, I remember Lily going "Oh, my brain is mush," and I turned to her and I was like, really? Because this is what we go through during the entire season, because we do all this in a foreign language, and people turn to forget it, and also it was the last scene of the season. That was mostly what she was telling me, not about the French, but that scene was kind of cathartic of what we all experience on set, because it's a foreign experience for us, and it's not because someone carries it well that it's not heavy, as we say. So having to this confrontation of telling the truth in my own language with my own words was very interesting. I mean, it felt good for Gabrielle to finally, I wish they could actually speak in his language sometimes, and she had the same level of understanding and vocabulary, because you always lose a bit of your signature and personality when you cross to another language.
Yeah. And there's the kind of the mistranslation with Genevieve where she kind of says that he hasn't. I was wondering, I've kind of left a bit open. Do you think she's got away with that? Because it seems like it's put a big kind of block in between Gabrielle and Emily at the end of the season.
Yeah, you know, we lose Camille and subconscious manipulation, and we get conscious manipulation with Genevieve. So it's just more drama to come, you know. And yeah, and Gabrielle is a bit naive on that way. He doesn't really spot those kind of personalities because he trusts everyone. So it's gonna be chaotic again.
Obviously, we don't know whether there'll be a season 5 yet.
I know.
But if there were to be one, I was wondering, what would you like to see for Emily in this new Rome adventure?
Yeah, I would love to explore a bit more of Italy. I mean, Rome is insanely stunning and I love it so much, but I would love to go to the countryside or maybe like the coast and kind of experience that. See where it goes with Marcello, but also have all of her French coworkers and Mindy and everyone come back out, because it would be so fun to see them all experiencing Italy for the first time in a way that I experienced Paris season 1. So it'd almost be like an interesting experience to share all together, because I think we all felt that here. You know, we'd been to Rome, not all of us, but we'd been to Rome before, but never for this amount of time. So to explore outside places and none of us would have been to before would be really cool.
And then lastly, I just wanted to ask you, a lot of people comment on your whole resemblance to Audrey Hepburn. And so I was wondering, like, with the ski outfit, really reminded me of her in Charade, and obviously the Roman holiday episode. I was wondering, did you enjoy getting to kind of lean into that?
Yeah, she is like, I grew up idolizing her and just loving her so much. And I think with this character, we get to use a lot of influence from, you know, throughout the ages, and it just felt so right to have the charade like representation in the skiing episode, and then of course Roman holiday. So it really feels fun to take something and then embrace and lean in, because to kind of toe the line and not dedicate to leaning in is also a choice, but it felt fun and it felt right. And yeah, I mean, it's a joy to get to wear those clothes and, you know, have those looks.
If you had to say right now whether you think Gabrielle could be end up with Emily, what do you think? Do you think it's meant to be?
Well, if they ever end up together, we won't know until the last scene of the last season of the last episode. Anything else is in between, you know. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But I don't have the answers. Darren. I'm not even sure Darren knows where this is going to end. But I surely hope for Gabrielle, rooting for my character, that he will get a happy romantic ending. He deserves to be loved. He's a kind guy. You know, he makes mistakes, but he deserves a bit of love.
I wanted to start with a question for you, actually, about Mindy. Mindy, she kind of has to deal with a lot of kind of subtle shaming about her, embracing her sexuality this season, but she, never really lets it get to her. I was wondering what you think it is about her that makes her so resilient.
Oh, well, I think that her in particular, what I love so much about Mindy, she says things as they are, and she observes, and she never holds back the truth, but she's never judgmental. No matter how many times Emily wants to be with Gabrielle, or this happens at work or whatever, I love that she's never judgmental. She's very well, that's not great, but let's figure out how to best do that. So I think that she wouldn't tolerate that either. Judgment, and especially anything that's based on societal norms and how people think it's supposed to be. Mindy very much marches to the beat of her own drum, and she expects everyone else to let her as well, because that's what she allows for people in her life.
Yeah, she's such a great character. Simon and Bruno, I wanted to ask you, obviously we get a new addition to Agence Grotto with Genevie, this second part. I was wondering, how do you think she changes the dynamic in the office, kind of having another American, but one that actually speaks French?
I think it's refreshing. In a sense, it's refreshing, and it's funny because it's like a throwback to season 1, and that newcomer, but with a twist.
But now you're on Emily's side. Now Emily's.
Yeah, I'm like, do you know what? I think Julian is like fed up. It's like, again, another one. What do you think?
And you all kind of get to go to Rome. I was wondering kind of what the highlight was of filming there and how it compared to being in Paris, which I'm guessing kind of feels like the home of the show. And obviously, Samuel and Bruno, you're both French. Was what that was like?
I mean, we loved getting to come to Rome. That was like definitely the highlight, I would say, for all three of us. I think when all of us found out that we were in those final episodes in Rome, we were like, yes, we get to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because it just gives a totally different like flavor, but the same kind of opulent romance that we love about the show, and just to get to be here and film in this new city was remarkable.
Yeah.
And did you agree with the negativity about French coffee? Is it really not that good?
Yes, I totally agree. I have to say that the coffee in Italy is better. I'm sorry for the French coffee, but I have to say that. And the line is from Luc, and it's true. And you defending the French coffee.
I am
Yeah.
in the show, but in real life, I drink tea. I'm more of a tea person.
And I mean, the only thing is that I'm a big iced coffee girl.
Yeah?
In the U.S., and that's always like kind of a struggle sometimes in Paris.
You're a
and maybe even
Starbucks.
here.
You're a Starbucks girl.
Oh yeah, that's a stereotype. The
The line.
Starbucks. Yeah, no, I like iced coffees.
And then I was wondering, obviously we don't know whether there's going to be a season 5 yet, but if there is one, I was just wondering what would you like each to see for your characters next on the show?
I think we love what we are always so surprised by what Darren and the writers have in store for us, but for sure we would like more scenes together.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what we hope for in the
We
future.
want a big scene together.
Yeah,
Big
that'd be
storyline,
nice.
yeah.
Please, come on, do something for us, Rebecca.
Use your connections.
Yeah.
I was expecting that moment.
Yeah.
Please, Rebecca.
get
You got
Darren
the
on the
contact
phone
of
right now.
Darren. I know that.
And then it's kind of like left open-ended whether the show could go to Rome. Do you think that we've had like 4 seasons in Paris now? Do you think it's kind of exhausted Paris and it would be like good to have a new setting for all the
It's
characters?
exhausted Paris at all. I
No,
think
you
there's
can
so
never
much.
exhaust Paris.
But
No.
I do think that there's a lot more story to tell in Rome, as it seems.
Yeah. We discovered with the Olympics that Paris got a great power.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you cannot exhaust Paris, obviously. But it's good to refresh a little bit with Rome. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.